What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's live stream. Hopefully, you can hear us okay. My name is Gina. I am the Senior Manager for Creator Engagement at the Elder Scrolls Online. And so excited to welcome my co host today. We have Mrs. Ninetails from the ESO Stream team.
Hi, how's everybody doing today?
Sorry, we were a couple minutes late. You know how it is, just trying to get things all set up here. I sound out of breath. Okay, so elephant in the room. We're just going to address it now. I was waiting for somebody to be like, "You sound weird." I got some sort of like weird infection or something over the weekend, so I'm on antibiotics. I feel fine. It's just my throat is like my lymph nodes are all swollen and stuff. So I feel totally fine. I'm not contagious or anything. Not that it matters because the missus
You're in
is
your own house. I feel like it's,
somewhere else.
yeah, we're quite a few states away. I think we're good at least.
We're okay. We're all healthy here. We're just sounding, a little. It's like I was at a concert or something and I was screaming too much. But anyway, so this is about as excited as I'm going to sound today. In any event, do want to welcome Miss Ninetails here. For those that maybe haven't tuned into your channel, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do? Like, obviously you stream, but you have kind of a special channel, I think.
Yeah. So what's kind of unique about, I shouldn't say my channel, is for those of you who haven't tuned into our streams, I actually co-stream with my husband, Ninetail Fox. We stream together. So we tend to focus on new and returning players. We've been players since the beta, so we tend to know a little bit about a lot here. So we like to get new people onboarded, back on track if they're returning, and so we stream at the Ninetail Fox channel. We also do stream on YouTube and have guides over on YouTube at the Fox Den. You can find us on all the social medias, and we also collaborate with fellow stream team member Duma for written and video guides over at thegameroom.tv. So you can find us just about anywhere, which I know somewhere scrolling below me is there's a couple of ways to get a hold of us. So
It was actually perfect timing because as soon as you were talking about that, it scrolled by and then your little channel links came up.
perfect.
So it's almost like we timed it that way. Um, Let me ask, what are your favorite types of content that you do in ESO? Because I know you do a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things about ESO is that because I can be a little neurospicy and sometimes my interests change, which ESO has a lot of that. But right now I'm on a dungeon fix. We're gonna get a little group going and start doing some of those dungeon achievements we've been putting off for a while. So that's I think my current fixation right now, and getting through those. But like I said, questing is a close second. The stories in ESO are phenomenal. So
Yeah.
that really is a nice off stream, pajamas, snacks, and just chilling doing questing is my
Nice,
favorite.
nice
So
little cozy time. It's not as cozy and a little bit more crazy as PvP. That's what we're going to be talking about in
I
great deal
know.
today. So going over actually all the things that we're going to be talking about today, it is a big update 44 preview stream. So of course we are going to start with what is coming to PvP. We're going to go over some additional features that is in the Update 44 base game. We'll be talking about the new companions that we just lightly touched on at the beginning of the year, where we'll go over some in-game events and some announcements, and then close up with a special message from the team that just released the Elder Scrolls Castles. Now, for Update 44, I do want to let everybody know this is coming to the PTS on Monday, September 16th. You know what else is happening on September 16th? It's my birthday. Yay! Happy birthday to me.
Hey,
Update
happy early
44 is on
birthday.
PTS. Woo!
Best birthday present
It
ever.
is. You know what? This happens all the time when it's like, oh, my birthday is the week of PTS. Sweet. I'm turning 24 again. No, just kidding. So
$24.99 plus shipping and handling. The older you
yeah.
get, the more your shipping and handling costs.
What I also noticed is like when I have to put in my date of birth, I'm scrolling an awful lot to get to my year.
Oh,
But
I feel that.
yeah, it's all good. October 28th, Update 44 is going to launch for PC, Mac, Steam, and Epic. And then November 13th is consoles. Chat, thank you so much. You all are very sweet. Everyone's very excited today, as am I. It's going to be a really fun live stream. All
It
right.
is. Which Yeah. Next on the list here, don't forget that Twitch drops are on right now. If for any reason you guys aren't seeing it, make sure you refresh. Sometimes Twitch can be a little tricky.
Yes.
But the Chaos Ball cohort pet, it is a brand new pet that we haven't seen before. So who doesn't want a Chaos Ball following them around everywhere they go? I think that's pretty awesome. This one ideally isn't going to do you any damage though. Also, as a reminder, the September Spotlight. You can get 2 free dungeons and more this month. So the Dragon Bones DLC dungeons, Fanglair and Scale Caller Peak, are available for daily login rewards this month. And I believe there's also some an arms pack you can get, as well as some other goodies. So definitely check in on those. We also have for our Xbox friends Xbox Game Pass perks. There's a new anniversary pack out. Don't forget to go claim that. We have the ESO Home Tours contest, which we're going to talk about, I think, in just a minute. That's going to be coming up. We have an Undaunted celebration starting on Thursday. All the dungeons you can run and more. We obviously have today's live stream, which is the update into PvP, which is be so exciting. And then later this month, we also have a couple 10-year anniversary meetups, which includes over in Italy, which I'm so jealous I can't be there for.
I know, same.
And then one in San Diego on the 21st at TwitchCon, which I will be there for. So come visit.
I was going to ask, actually. I wasn't sure if you were still coming or not.
Yes, thanks to some friends for letting us crash with them. We were able to get a couple dollars scraped together to get at least the plane tickets out. So we won't be at TwitchCon itself, but we will be in the area for the meetup. So come say hi. I'll have lots of free time.
I'm very excited for that one. Yeah, as Mrs. mentioned, the Home Tours contest, we previously had said that was going to start on September 4th. Well, here we are on September 10th. So basically, we are just kind of working to ensure that as many players can participate as possible all around the world. So we are going to have more details on this very soon. Again, Undaunted starting a little bit later this week. And of course, that Fallen Leaves of Westfield event that was on that graphic, we will be talking about that a little bit later in the stream. Somebody said that you have no picture or sound. Just give it a refresh. So that should fix any of your issues. If you don't see drops on, again, just refresh. You should be good to go at that point. All right, let's go ahead and kick things off with some PvP talk. We know chat is super stoked to hear what is going on. So we are going to bring in our lead combat and PvP designer, Mr. Brian Wheeler. Thank you for joining us. It's been a while since you've been on one of these.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. But, not as long as needing to scroll back to my birth year.
You got to scroll a little bit farther than I do. I know.
Scroll a little bit longer. A little bit longer. That $24.99 with shippings. Oof.
Yeah.
A little bit much. A little bit.
I know.
That's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. So back in, was it January for Global Reveal? We had kind of touched on how Update 44 is going to be related to PvP somehow. So what is it that you have been working on?
Old stuff. So we'll cut right to the chase. We've heard a lot of feedback from the PvPers out there regarding short-term PvP, and we wanted to give you guys something brand new. So we're going to start with two-sided Battlegrounds, which is an entirely different shift. We've been going with three-sided Battlegrounds for a long time now, but people have commented they want to have something that's a little bit more competitive, where it's two sides against each other, but they also want something a little bit more relaxed with two sides. So we're trying to cater to a lot of audiences here with Battlegrounds, where we're going to have 4v4 matches, 8v8 matches, and it's on 7 new maps entirely. So they're custom built. It's let us explore a lot of different things here with these map layouts, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been a good year and a half, 2 years almost working on this with engineers, UI designers, as well as the other designers and just QA running through playtests left and right. So it's been a lot of hard work from a lot of people, and it's nice to finally talk about this and show it off versus there's a PvP update coming.
Yeah, I hear you. And one thing worth noting, this is not part of a DLC. This is all base game. So as long as you own the game, you're going to be able to play all of these new maps and these new modes for free, which is really cool.
Yep. Yep. And just, so everybody's clear, three-sided isn't like, we're not flushing it going away. It's just gonna go on the back burner for a little bit. We're talking about bringing three-sided back for holidays later on, but for 44, the focus is going to be two-sided. It's going to be these new maps and game modes and all these other features that we've added in, which is cool. I'm actually in game if you all would like to see some of this stuff. I'm gonna be able to hop around through a couple maps today. I don't want to take up the whole time with going through all 7, but we can give a nice high level and some overview of not only just the maps themselves, but possibly some game mode additions to show off yours too. So it's pretty cool.
Sure. There we go.
The first one I'm in is a city on an island and itself. It's called Port de Fort, or Port de Fort if you're a little bit more French. The beauty of going two-sided was that it lets us kind of experiment a little bit more with different layouts. We were kind of tied in very heavily to like an octagon shape before for three-sided, or a hexagon shape. So in this case with two-sided, we can really flex creativity a bit and go more asymmetrical or symmetrical. It's sort of like the sky's the limit. In this map is a city map. We really like the idea of the tight quarter alleyway streets. A lot of people really like how Imperial City fights, but there wasn't a vibe like that existed too heavily in Battlegrounds. And you can see some confetti coming down from the sky. So sort of the vibe we wanted for this map was almost like the running of the bulls in Pamplona, where people were celebrating. They're like, yay, the battleground people are here. So, and I guess that's another thing that should be pointed out, that it is 2 teams only. It is Pit Demons and Fire Drakes. Sorry, the Storm Lords, they had to take a break. But, we had to pick 2 teams that we went at it, and I did my best to hold back the fact that orange and purple are part of the team's colors, because, being from Baltimore, Ravens and Orioles, thought about it, couldn't resist. So we did hold back. But you're seeing some other stuff in here with power-ups. This should be familiar to a degree.
The return of the power-ups. These are some early BG things going on. I like it.
Yeah. So initially we had the damage power-up in there. Just purely get damage. That's it. Murder. And in three-sided with 4v4, it was a little bit more tide turning when you pick that up that we wanted to, which is why we kind of shut them off. Another point there about 4-on-4-on-4 is that when you're just one of those players in those teams, if you make a mistake, if you die, the respawn timer is pretty rough. It was really brutal and kind of punishing, for lack of a better way to word it, which it should be when you die in PvP. But in these modes, we're going more, and you get to see me zip now. We're trying to go a little bit more relaxed, at least in the 8-on-8 territory. So there are, again, 7 maps, and 4 of those maps are focused purely for 8-on-8 activity. You'll run into the larger maps like this, where there's alleyways. Some maps are a little bit more open, like we're familiar with Foyata Quarry and such. But the power-ups exist only in the 8-on-8 maps, because for the 4-on-4 maps, they're a little bit more concentrated, a little bit more focused on that competitive vibe and that competitive feel. But we definitely wanted to bring the power-ups back. We thought that fit very well with the mantra of having 8-on-8 be a little bit more relaxed. Some of the other stuff you get with 8-on-8 is a bit of that Cyrodiil vibe to a degree, where you can hang out in the rear if you're a little bit worried about getting into the fight right away. That's what siege weapons are for in Cyrodiil. 9. Yes,
that's me.
Yeah.
I'm the healer on the siege. I'll admit it. It's okay.
Right. That's all good. Yeah. But in an 8-on-8 battle, you can kind of hide back and let the masses in front of you, and you can support it a little bit more. You can get in there and mix it up. The respawn timers are still the same exact idea, where there's respawns in waves in pretty much all of the 8-on-8 matches. But we do have some other changes that we're doing, and I'm going to show real quickly. We were dancing a little bit earlier. Sorry, I just go through all the dance icons. So I'm going to start a battleground with some commands. Obviously, don't do this on live. It's like, oh my God, you cheat on live? No, I don't cheat on live. But I'm going to run a battleground here. Yes, this is internal. in the playtest, we also found a lot of the rules that we had that exist already for three-sided, which work pretty well in three-sided, weren't vibing too hot in two-sided. One key example of this is Chaos Ball. A lot of people go get the Chaos Ball, bring it back to their spawn point, hang out with it. And when we were doing a lot of playtesting with two-sided, we found without that third team, that kind of resulted in a lot of stalemates or a lot of heavily lopsided, 500 to 0 scores. So with a lot of the three-sided battlegrounds, a lot of the two-sided battlegrounds, there's going to be 3 Chaos Balls, not just one. That was a nice, simple solution that we looked into. And then we started exploring how could we make it a little bit more interesting outside of just, the Chaos Ball exists, you pick it up and, you're doing damage and hurting people. So we started to explore a really old idea where when you pick up the Chaos Ball, things can change a little bit more different. So in this case, I'm going to pick up this Chaos Ball and get turned into a werewolf behemoth. You can see that your hotbar changes out. You can't pick up another Chaos Ball when you have this Chaos Ball. So I'll run over here so you can see. I can't actually get the thing. Just look at it, be angry.
Chat's loving this. I like it.
Yeah. So you do have, abilities that should be familiar to those of you who have done dungeons. We have actually highly edited these abilities so they are more tuned to PvP and player versus player combat. But as I'm, slow hoofing it around, you can see how there's some power-ups. There's another Chaos Ball here that also transforms you to something else. But I'm going to die here because that's what happens when you're carrying the Chaos Ball. So in this case, you see the standard issue respawn, you pop back up. And I'll go over here real quick. And, it has the same old tech where if people decide to be cheeky and get the Chaos Balls into locations where you can't pick them up, they reset. But on the other Chaos Ball, you can turn into the Vampire Lord. So again, this takes a lot of cues from, the actual vampire skill lines. You can actually teleport with the ball on you. And then you all have a heavy attack and light attack overrides as well. So this is just kind of like one example of how we're taking some of the old rule sets and trying to spice them up a touch. There's a lot of other tech we have, which is more focused around, rounds, for lack of a better way to word it. We know that in games like Street Fighter, Tekken, or even Counter-Strike and other, popular shooter, arena style games, they have this concept of rounds. And I died again. That's okay. That's one thing I always tell people too. If you're gonna hop into PvP, you're gonna die. That's the way.
It's gonna happen, right? It's just part of the game.
Way
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're like me, you die a lot.
I'm gonna hop to another battleground, which is sort of more woodsy based, and again, this kind of gets us territory that we're not normally doing with battlegrounds, where it's very overgrown. It's got this lush layout, looks really cool. But the other aspects about this round, the map, is that you still have the firewalls that exist to keep you locked in the pen. We did add some, for lack of a better way to word it, not necessarily spawn protection, but get you into the fight. So if you're in your spawn point for longer than 2 minutes, you actually get kicked into the gameplay space. So that way you don't have to worry about people just squatting in their base. We know that was sometimes some feedback. Mm-hmm. But for those of you who are keen-eyed, if you look in the upper right, you'll see that there's some new icons up there. So for games which have rounds, we also have lives for this. So similar to, Mario, where if you have a couple lives when you start, if you die, game's over. In the case of Battlegrounds, mainly on the competitive side of the 4v4s, we're going to have lives for you. You get but so many respawns, and then you're done. You don't get to compete for the rest of that round. And the Battlegrounds are for competitive, as you can see right there, best of 3. 3 rounds each. So if you win the first 2 rounds, Battlegrounds over, you go. Those rounds are each 5 minutes. This is all subject to change via playtesting and such. But yeah, this is one of the 8-on-8 maps that we allow rounds to occur, and you get 5 lives. When you do run out of lives, you're not just sitting there bored. You can actually spectate other members on your team, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Being able to allow you to, not just sit in your spawn point and be like, okay, I'm waiting.
Yeah, just kind of twiddling your thumbs waiting. Now you can actually watch what the rest of your team is doing.
Yep. You can cheer them on. You can
Yep.
and you can see again power-ups here as well in the ship.
I love the maps. The maps they feel so incorporated into like regular overland. It feels like you're fighting in overland areas. I really enjoy that.
That's one of the things when talking to our lore masters, we have ideas for what we want maps to look like, gameplay wise, geometrically and such. But when we start looking at themes and things along those lines, that's where trying to root it in the world happens. This is another power up, which is just an ultimate power up. When you click it, it just gives you like a 500 ultimate, I think, just right off the rip. But with the power ups, if anybody remembers this, when you activate them, they actually activate in the area around the activation, and it's friend and foe. So you got to be real careful when you activate those things to make sure you're not giving don't want to give your enemies some bonuses. But again, in this case, you can see how the maps have a lot of variance to them, different layouts. And again, like we were talking there, it feels very lived in. It's got that cool vibe to it of, in this case, overgrown, like in the Westworld. So it's really, really cool. Outside of like lives and round gameplay, something else to bring up is that before anybody asks, is there a Capture the Relic in 4v4? That's another game mode that we actually excluded from the 4v4 gameplay, because again, Capture the Relic in some of those maps, which are really, really tiny, that I actually will jump to one of those next and kind of show you the difference between an 8-on-8 map and a 4-on-4 map. So give me a minute to hop over this one.
Yeah, so I know one of the things that I know, we get asked a lot when we ask the community questions is, in terms of like rewards and stuff, are we looking at rewards here for, BGs? Are we refreshing those a little bit while we're thinking about these new modes as well?
Oh, indeed. It's fortuitous you should bring that up.
Funny, you should ask.
So
Right?
there are, I know that we have been trying to get the PvP update refreshes occurring on the odd updates. Obviously, we didn't have them for 43 because we knew that 44 was coming. So the rewards of the worthy sets that were going to be in 43 are in 44. We also have 3 new sets which are earned strictly from Battlegrounds as well. So there's 6 new PvP sets. This is just one of them that I have equipped, and here's another one that I have equipped. So everybody can screenshot like crazy. You're gonna get these sets are gonna be on PTS. So when you're playing, just try them out. And what we wanted to deliver with this update was something for the people who really like to do BGs. The rewards were refreshed for that. The leaderboards also have gotten an adjustment where there's just one leaderboard now. We knew that we did have flag games, land grab, deathmatch. Now it's just one. It's just called competitive. And the only way you get rewards for that is queuing into the 4-on-4. So for everybody that likes to just take their time, have fun, 8-on-8, you'll get rewarded over the course of your play sessions. But for those who want to get those rewards sooner, as well as some more rare ones, that's how you get those via 4-on-4, via the leaderboard, which is a weekly leaderboard based off your medals that you earn. So similar to the ones we have, but again, it's just one leaderboard this time to make it like ultra competitive. Because again, we heard from feedback, we wanted something more competitive, and there's the get out teleport that just happened. But you can see how this is a 4-on-4. There are, I won't lie, a couple 8-on-8 matches that we did stick in here as well for people, just so they could have some exposure to these smaller maps. But you can see how it's very focused, very direct, and it has, a single capture point in the middle. So we still have the modes before, like domination, crazy king. This would be technically king of the hill because it's just one point that stays here the whole time. But in our playtest, we have, teams that come up and are battling across this bridge, and, for giggles, we also added slaughterfish down here. So if you do drop into the water, you can get murdered up.
You shouldn't drop into the water.
Don't
I've
drop
died
into the
to
water.
many slaughterfish in my
Yeah.
day.
And right now you're getting an idea of like, hey, spectator cam, what would it look like? This
Yep.
is kind of what it would look like if I had somebody else to follow,
Right.
but I don't. So I'm going to cheat and res. Right in the slaughterfish again. Good job. But you can kind of get an idea here of the difference in the map sizes. We have one other that I can show real quick as well for sizing comparisons for everybody.
Okay.
To give you that idea of how much smaller the 4-on-4s are, because they really are intended to be, arena fights where you get in and it's just there's nowhere to
A little
go.
more
and you
intense,
just gotta
yeah.
fight each other. Right, yeah. And that's part of that feedback that we got, that some people want that intense, ultra competitive vibe, and that's what the 4-on-4 does provide. But the rounds aspect of that too does give you a bit of a respite in between. So like, let's say you lose round one, you got your in between rounds, we can go, okay, let's give it a minute, let's maybe rethink our strategy, and then the firewalls drop and you go again. That is also some of the feedback that we got, where we know that 15 minutes of go that currently exists with the Battlegrounds can be exhausting, mentally as well as, your hands. You're doing a lot of work. But this Battleground is going to spin up here, and I can show you some of the unique features of this map as well. That's something we tried to focus a lot on too, where each map had some, at least in the 4v4, some hazards or uniqueness to them that's not just, line of sight breakers and things like that, which is important. But all these maps have undergone loads and loads of playtests. And here's another case where normally in a domination match there's 3 things to capture. In this one there's just 2. And they're also right on the edge of a death drop. Yes, you will die if you get booped off of that.
You're gonna dodge roll
I
right
know where
off
I'm
that.
spending my bag.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna spend my matches on that side of the map. I can imagine.
But you can see also in this case there's no lives marker in this one. So this is just straight up 4v4 2-point capture. So there's no need to worry about, oh my god, we're going to run out of lives and be screwed. Lives and rounds are all things that we can turn on and turn off on individual Battlegrounds. So we got a ton of flexibility to make a lot of different game modes, which is really, really cool. In the 8-on-8 matches, we have 5 capture locations to get in 2 of the maps. 2 of the other ones just have 3. So there's a big variety of. There's also something over here that a lot of people are going to recognize. You can purge this though. You can
Okay.
purge those.
Well, as a
You're
Templar,
like,
I feel a little better, but those are my mortal enemy.
those are your
Okay.
death, right? No doubt. No doubt.
Hey Wheeler, I
Um,
saw this popping up in chat a few times. People asking if it's
Sure.
going to be CP or no CP. Or,
It's still going to be no CP, and there will be queues for the 10 to 49, which is only going to be the 8-on-8s. When you hit 50, then you get access to the 4-on-4 competitive. That also is no CP, but item sets are allowed across the board. This lines up with what we just recently did, where we had the no CP campaigns allow item sets to proc. So we're trying to make that friction between moving between the different battleground modes a little bit easier. And since all the battlegrounds themselves and some of Imperial City was sort of like this weird in between state where only like procs were allowed in some but not in the others. So we were like, no, just bulldoze that, make it so that procs are allowed but no CP. That being said, we could always explore the possibility of allowing CP in battlegrounds. So we have a lot of flexibility with the system across the board for the 8v8s as well as the 4v4 rule sets or any sort of allowances or restrictions we want to do, which is very refreshing.
Great.
It's really exciting. I'm loving it.
Now I know
Yeah.
you talked about how there's 6 of the new PvP item sets. There's also 4 new
Right.
outfit styles which look really cool, and a new adornment that folks
Yep.
can get through here.
And a lot of that, again, we're trying to focus on the leaderboard being your primary point of acquisition for a lot of the new stuff. Again, you can do the 8-on-8 matches and take your time slowly acquiring things. But again, if you want to get them first, both of the rewards from 4v4 as well as the leaderboards have higher chances of getting the new stuff, which is what we're trying to go into that mode where we've revisited how itemization, how the flow of that works to reinforce what we want to reinforce. In this case, the competitive side, giving them access to the new shinies first.
Yep.
Again, you can still earn them in the 8-on-8s. It's just going to be at a slower rate.
Now, how about MMR for this? I know,
Yes.
my biggest fear is always, getting matched up with people who are just, far better than me, and I don't feel like I have a chance. But is there any way we're leveling the playing ground at all there and helping players out?
Yep. So with competitive, that will be mainly where MMR comes into play the most. We're going to be obviously with two-sided, there's some things we had to address with like quitters, leavers, joining in progress, anything along those lines. If you join a match that's in progress in the competitive territory, your MMR isn't going to get boosted or hit depending upon if you won or lost. If you're on a team where you had to have people join in because people quit, your team's not going to get as penalized. So we're hyper aware of MMR movement in two-sided and in a competitive environment on how to have that be addressed. With 8-on-8, there's no MMR taken into account for that because it's more, bedlam. It's just like like kind of like Cyrodiil, just in a mini version of it where you're going to get a mishmash of everything out there. So MMR isn't taken into account for that. That being said, for MMR, we're also looking at a more aggressive degrading of your MMR if you go inactive. It's a very long tail right now for how MMR slowly fades off. We're going a bit more aggressive with 44, and it's going to be on like a 7-day period where if you are a competitive player, you keep playing, and that 7 days can either line up with your leaderboard push or not. It's one of those things that we're going to be paying attention to as well pretty heavily, especially considering right now MMR is pretty far banned across the player base. But we're also looking at doing a monthly reset for MMR across the board too, where similar to all of our monthly resets, MMRs are going to get wiped back down to base, which your MMR is based off of like a highest AVA rank, as well as just a base number, and then it goes up and down from there. So this gives everybody a chance to go for a leaderboard push.
Yeah.
And that's kind of nice because right now some of the feedback that we've received is I have no shot. Like if people get way ahead of me, I got no shot. So the weekly leaderboard resets, as well as the faster MMR degrade, as well as the reset for MMR, is trying to give everybody a chance.
Hey, Wheeler,
it's still going to be competitive though.
Would you mind, just for the folks in chat, I see a lot of people who are like, what the heck is MMR? What is he talking about? Like, what's the Cliff's Notes version here?
Yeah, so MMR is matchmaking rating. So it's basically what we use to match you up, sort of like how Mrs. Tales was talking about, that we have a number or a ranking associated with every character, and then you get matched up preferentially against people with a similar rating. Sometimes, obviously in those late night hours when there's not as many people in queue, you may have some of those broader differences between each other, but we use that to try and get people matched competitively as best as we can.
Now, one
and you're
thing.
actually going to be able to see that too.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead and show.
Yeah, your ratings are going to be listed there. And by the way, this says solo random, group random. The only ones that are going to be available are going to be 4v4 competitive and 8v8 standard. I get to see solo and group because I have special GM power, fancy account. But yeah, it's just going to be 4v4 compet and 8v8 standard. That's going to be listed.
Now, one other thing I wanted to make sure that we touch on, we have a new benefit for those who have ESO Plus membership. We're going to be giving an increase to Alliance points, AP, and Telvar that you can earn if you have an active membership, which is pretty cool. I think it's like a 10% increase, right?
Yep, 10%, and that is actually shown in your advanced stat page too, which I got showing up on the screen.
Awesome.
One of those nice little bonuses as well.
Yeah.
There is one thing I keep seeing in chat a lot of questions on, and maybe we just want to touch on it briefly again, is the 3v3v3 fate.
Mm-hmm.
People are asking if they're going away completely forever.
No, not forever.
Not completely forever.
They'll be back. They'll be back.
Yeah.
Initially, again, for 44, we're going to be focused primarily on two-sided battlegrounds. We want that to be the focus for 44, but they're not like deleted from our servers or hard drives or anything like that. We can turn them on. It's not something we can do just like, snap our fingers and they're ready. So it would take, a little bit of an update for us to just turn them back on. But, we're going to be paying attention, seeing how feedback goes. By all means, we're going to have some questions for everybody to answer on PTS, but, we'll be looking for feedback about two-sided. And look at that, my team is nearing victory, even though it's just by myself. But yeah, and I guess in terms of those holidays too, during 44, during our cycle here, the holidays that do pop up are going to be two-sided holidays. So when we get Domination Weekend, it's two-sided Domination Weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
And now, if you don't mind me asking, just before we send you off here, there's kind of two groups of players that we come across as content creators, and so for my new and returning players coming in to try PvP or return to PvP, why should they jump into these? What's different? What's a reason to try this again or try it for the first time?
So I'm back in an 8-on-8 map because that's one of the important things that we feel that helps out. I'm flying, I'm cheating, I know. With 8-on-8, sort of how we talked about before, there's less direct pressure on your individual actions. So when you're in an 8-on-8 match, you can kind of hide in the back. You don't need to be the blitzer that runs up and kills people. You can get the lay of the land and take it a little bit slower. Whereas in 4-on-4, which is the current 3-sided, your actions are really magnified. Like if you miss a heal and somebody dies, like you're in trouble. So in 8-on-8, it gives you a better opportunity to get used to it, dip your toes into it. The other thing about 2 teams versus 3 is that's also a little bit easier for people to get their head around. Like 3-sided, besides Cyrodiil and a couple other games out there, isn't widely used. It's either 2 teams or pretty much free for all. Or if you're making custom games and various shooters, you can have different subdivisions of teams. So 2-sided is also something that helps a lot of people just sort of grok it and get into it easier. But also, what we were talking about with those rewards, we're trying to have rewards that are earnable via doing 8-on-8s or 4-on-4s. Obviously, they're going to be pulling from the same pool, but a higher chance in 4-on-4. But you can still get that new gear that actually helps you in PvP. Like the gear that we're having, displayed here as well as what's going to be on PTS. You can tell it's much more focused around PvP activities, stuff like, when you dodge or especially when you're dealing with crowd control. These are things that we try to focus our PvP sets on. So Battlegrounds are a good way to hop in there and get those PvP rewards to get your feet wet and get going. But the other aspect of it that makes two-sided nice is, the power-ups. The fact that you have some things that give you, a lot of damage or a lot of speed or mitigation or even the werewolf and vampire variants. So we're trying to explore ways that make you change up how you play while you're actually in the battleground, which we hope will give people a lot more opportunity and desire to get into PvP versus I don't want to do that. I'm scared of it. So
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Absolutely.
I do want to just kind of acknowledge also. I see chat asking about Cyrodiil. We are talking about, Battlegrounds right now. This is what is coming in update 44. But I do just want to acknowledge, like, we see you talking about Cyrodiil. We know, you're super anxious to get some updates on Cyrodiil. But the focus, at least for right now on this stream, is the two-sided battlegrounds, and then of course we're going to talk about some other stuff that's coming to 44, like the new companions and some of this other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Then just one final question
Sure.
is obviously, we love our new and returning players, but we have a lot of really great PvPers in the current community that, have been
Mhm.
waiting very, very long time for this. And, like I said, watching chat, I see some people are super excited. Some people are a little worried about some aspects. How are, how should our current PvP players be looking at that from that side of things?
Yeah, this gets back to the 4-on-4 side, where it's for those people who are like the diehard PvPers who love the frenetic pace or really like showing that they're good masters of small four-person teams. Um, sorry, I had a hiccup. This gives you those opportunities in extremely tight locations to show how much of a badass you are, for lack of a better way to word it. Um, you can see that in those smaller maps, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You can see pretty much them the whole time when they're at their spawn point. So you kind of are like, it's almost like that mental chess game of like, all right, who's going first? But we do ever get out of the spawn point. Um, but again, like the single leaderboard is something to really push that competitive drive in people. Before we had 3 leaderboards, and you can kind of specialize for being um, a flag runner, but in this case, uh, almost all of the matches in competitive are deathmatch oriented. There's no chaos ball, there's no capture the relic. Domination is 1 point or 2 point, and uh, again, there's no chaos ball on there, and the only other stuff is like team deathmatch, which is pure. We're better than you. We can kill you faster than you can kill us. And again, with lives, we do have an override actually in the team deathmatch competitive matches that actually, if you wipe out the enemy team's lives, round is over, you won. So we even have some extra little layers on top of that, besides just trying to get to that 500 score. Like, yeah, try to wipe the other team out. Actually get in there and do it. Now for domination, we don't have that rule set override. We could toggle it. We also have the capability to say instead of 3 lives or 5 lives, we could say you get 1 life. But like you get 1 death and that's it. So we could go hardcore. Like we could go really hardcore with the competitive queue. So that's what we're looking at in terms of what can excite a PvP, or that thrill of I just took away your respawns entirely. Like we can go that deep if we need to. But for now, again, we're seeing how this first PTS cycle goes, where competitive is mostly 3 or 5 lives. They're all going to be 3-round matches if there are rounds. But pay attention to your HUD when you get into the match, and hopefully we get some really cool streams out there of people going at it.
Yeah, I'm sure
It'll
there
be
will
fun.
be. And again, like, this is coming on Monday, so I know Wheeler's going to be looking out, watching live streams of
Yes.
people going through and trying it out. There's going to be, feedback threads, so we definitely want to hear what everybody thinks of this.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're super excited to kind of get this in the hands of everybody and just dive in and check it out, right?
Yep, yep. And again, that leaderboard is going to have unique, cool stuff in there that you can, walk around and be like, look what I'm a
Yeah.
PvPer. So we're trying to, again, we're listening to the PvPers out there wanting to show off, wanting to show that they are the masters of their craft at killing people or keeping people alive. In the case of Mrs. Tails and myself, so
Healers,
the
woohoo.
competitive side is good.
All right. Well, I want to give a huge thank you to Brian for hopping on stream today, talking through what's coming to Battlegrounds in Update 44. And I'm sure we're going to see you around the battlefield, right? You're going to hop in at some
I'll be
point.
out there. Yep, yep. I'll be out
Maybe.
there on my tanky build right now.
Awesome. Is that usually kind of what you play in PvP?
No,
Is more of a tank?
I I've done everything honestly. I did the ganker route because hey, why not? We got mile gates and stuff to still can't come around in keeps. Healer is usually my default. That's what I run around Imperial City with a lot. But right now I'm sort of experimenting with not so much really high health and high armor, but more just like as much possible triage healing all the time. So I run Hisset, Mara's Oaken Soul right now, and I'm not like at 60k health or anything like that. I'm only at 40, so we're doing well.
We're gonna have to
We're
do like
surviving.
we'll do a PvP stream with you sometime. I think that might be fun.
Oh boy, that'll be everybody find him and kill him. I remember when we did one for
Yeah.
Imperial City way back. Oh my god, we got hunted down in the sewers so bad.
Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
It was fun though.
but it makes it fun. All right. Thanks again to Brian. We are not finished though. So just to recap again, update 44 coming to PTS on Monday, September 16th. It is launching on PC Mac October 28th and on consoles November 13th. And again, for anybody who maybe tuned in a little bit late, we were just kind of starting this stream talking about PvP. So we're going to be going into what's coming also in the Update 44 base game. Everything that Brian talked about with the Battlegrounds, the new maps and all of that, that is part of the base game. It is part of Update 44. So next we're going to be kind of talking through some other things that are coming, and then we'll get into the new companions and a few other things towards the end of the stream. So we are not done yet. But now we would like to bring on our next dev guest. We have Carrie Day, who is one of our systems designers. Welcome in, Carrie. Thanks for joining. I don't know if you had much of a choice. We were like, hey, you want to do the stream? You're going to do it.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to be here. It's been, I think, 7 years since my last ESO Live.
It has been a really long time. I know. Somebody needs to like go dig in the vault and find the last time Carrie was on a live
stream. That's okay.
Oh,
That's okay.
I'm sure you were great.
Carrie's always been great.
I looked like a baby then.
I think that was all like pre-child for all of us, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so Carrie is going to help show off some other things that are coming in Update 44. Of course, the companions right after that. Carrie, before we get started, though, like what is your role on the ESO team?
I am currently a systems designer, so that team can encompass many, many things, of which some I'm going to show off for some of my other teammates today. Systems can include housing, itemization, achievements, those types of things. I've been specializing in the companions for the last 2 years, so their companion design regarding their responses, their rapport, their non-combat perks, their ability suites, all those types of things. I've been working very diligently to bring those companions to life. They're very special to me.
Fantastic. For anybody in chat saying that drops don't appear to be on, they are on, luckily. All you have to do, maybe just try giving the window a refresh and see if that bumps it a little bit. All right, so now let's head over to fancy PowerPoint land here. We're going to go through some of the other things that are going to be in the Update 44 base game. So, of course, we do have the 4v4 and 8v8 Battlegrounds that Brian just talked about. We are also happy to introduce a new scribing grimoire. It's called Banner Bearer. So basically what happens is your character is going to get a banner similar to the bannermen that you see in Trials. And this is going to provide a buff to the group's abilities that match the focus archetype. Carrie, I think you have this to show in game, yeah?
I do have this to show in game. I'm pretty excited to show it.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, let me unmute your game. Okay. There we go.
I just have some ambient music. So the new grimoire is called Banner Bearer. What's really, really cool about this is that it is a no-cost ability. You actually are reducing your health, magicka, and stamina recovery to provide an aura bonus to those in your group within 8 meters. It's all pretty cool. So when you cast the ability, it is a toggle, and you can see that aura around you. It's pretty big. This is actually a resource restore visual. So you actually increase the resource restore for your allies in that circle. And you can see if I hit it again, it turns off. And then also if you weapon swap, you do need it on both bars if you're going to have it in that rotation. but if you change your focus script, that aura can actually change for what it is. So your allies can see that when I activate it, you can see the banner on my back. I am bearing the banner with an aura, in this case, is increasing fire damage. And so there are, I think, 8 different focus scripts that are supported with this grimoire. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 8. And all have different visuals to help with communication. I know magic damage has blue, the immobilize has white, and then you have that multicolor with the resource restore. And just for the sake of people who want to take screen grabs, this is a quick snapshot of one of the tooltips for it. Although I'm missing a script. There you go. Here's physical damage.
Fantastic.
So it increases your martial damage, your physical damage by 6%. It reduces your personal recovery, and then the class mastery is unique based on the class you have, and then it can even give minor heroism.
This seems very appealing for me as a support class. I main a healer, and when it needed a tank, so this is it feels very appealing to me as a support class.
I think it
I'm
has
very
a
excited.
really interesting gameplay to help your allies. I do think
Yeah.
it has a strong support role. You can buy it, the grimoire, for 50,000 gold from the vendor, but you do need to level your alliance war, so it is going to be found in the support skill line to purchase, similar to how we've had to unlock from those other weapons and things.
Fantastic. Thank you for showing that. Carrie, if you wouldn't mind moving your mic a tiny bit closer to your mouth. I did bump you up on my side, but I think oh no, look, now she's just destroying it. I'm like, hey, bring it closer.
My mic just fell out of my headset. I was like, boom.
Forget this mic.
Is that better?
Yes, it sounds better to me, but chat, you'll have to let us know what you think.
Let me know.
I think we're good. Good, better.
Cool.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, next up,
course.
we have additional support for 14 focus scripts. So we are adding support for 14 focus scripts to existing grimoires. We're going to be adding more frost support, as well as some interesting new options across damage dealing grimoires. So a couple examples of this. We're not going to go through all of them. Vault is now going to have a bleed. Smash will have a poison. Elemental explosion. Oh my gosh. Elemental explosion will have physical damage. So of course we'll have the full list in the patch notes on Monday. You can keep an eye out for that. Next thing we want to touch on, we have 4 new skill styles. Now, Undo.
Oh, these are my favorite.
I know, it's fun. Undo will have purple. Accelerate will also have purple. Now, there are 2 here, Puncture and Force Shock. It's not a recolor. They're actually going to have all new visual effects. So Puncture is molten, which that's not a color. That's a whole new effect. And then Force Shock is going to have wild burn. Carrie, are you set up to show that off, actually?
I think I am. Would you like to see?
I would love to see. I think chat probably would love to see. Yeah.
I mean, I'll show Force Shock first, but I have to say that I am a little biased that the Puncture is super cool. So the Wild Burn is the skill style for Force Shock. It's really cool. It's got this teal color, and even I think it has like leaves in the visual, so it looks like the leaves are falling, which I think is super, super cool.
That is nice.
Scroll out again, and then if you want to see the basic version, just to compare, so you have this straight beam. I am using an Inferno staff, and you can then recolor for Wild Burn. So nice teal color. And then lastly, which is my personal favorite skill style, this will fit all of those Dragonite tanks so well. You have this molten look, so you have these ribbons of molten lava coming from the target as you hit it.
My DK tank appreciates this so much.
Yes, no, this definitely fulfills the fantasy. So the Puncture normally is just this plain stab, but that molten lava burst is the name. It looks so good.
You know, it's
Very, very
even
excited
you
about
know
that.
what's even better about these? They're all sourced in game through gameplay, so you'll be able to earn these. We'll have again details in the patch notes on how to get them, or maybe we aren't going to tell you. I'm actually not sure yet, but yeah, these will all be sourced in game.
Yeah, the wild burn I also love for those going for their wood elf, complete their wood elf aesthetic or their warden aesthetic. Those vibe real nice with that. So
Yeah,
they're
no,
awesome.
definitely.
Both awesome.
All right, next thing we want to touch on, we have some improvements to item set sourcing and currencies. Now, bear with me for a second because I'm actually hold on. I'm gonna mute that real quick. So yeah, bear with me as I kind of talk through this just a little bit. We're not going to get into all the details here, but just at a high level. The first thing we're doing is converting Imperial City vault keys into a new currency, which is going to help just free up some additional inventory space and hopefully simplify access to the vaults. So again, we'll have a lot more details in the patch notes. The next thing we're doing is improving item sourcing for Imperial City by replacing the old treasure chest that used to be in the vaults with new vendors. So each vault vendor, it has around like 8 new item sets that you can purchase either with Telvar or with these new key fragments. So it's going to make it a lot easier to buy the exact sets that you want. Big news, I think. Every Imperial City item set is now curated. Woohoo! So again, it'll just make it
everywhere. Rejoice.
Yes,
rejoice,
I know.
Thanks. Get that frost staff now.
It is going to make it a lot easier now. We're also making, excuse me, some changes to the vendors that are found in the Imperial City sewers. So they have better organization and grouping of similar items and are just going to follow similar standards to other PvP vendors and those in Infinite Archive. So one thing real quick, the most notable one is the Telvar Jewelry Merchant is now going to be the Telvar Rotating Merchant. And it's going to carry mythic antiquity leads, skill styles and skill style fragments, treasure map containers, and scripts for scribing, in addition to the gold PvP jewelry. So again, this is all in the patch notes on Monday, just kind of trying to give you all a high level look at what is coming here. The last thing I wanted to touch on real quick is we're increasing the drop rates of some of the more rare furnishing crafting materials, so they drop more frequently. This includes the mundane runes, heartwood, and decorative wax.
Oh, my Housers, get excited.
Speaking of Housers, next thing, of course, are some new homes and furnishings coming in Update 44. We did want to give you just kind of a sneak peek of what these look like in game, which Carrie is going to show us around and see what it's all about.
Yeah, I noticed some really keen eyes noticed that I am actually in one of our new houses.
I saw that in chat, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so people were calling out like, are you standing in a house? Yes, I am. I'm standing in this really, really, really cool house. It is in the Black Reach, so you can see right here on the map. And I am going to show you around a little bit. The housing team has done an incredible job of it. Let me run to the front door so you guys can experience the full experience. You can see right now you come down like you come through an elevator to enter in, and this is a mine. You can see that they're mining here. There's the scaffolding. There's even a pool if you're feeling a little hot and want to go for a swim. You can jump down in there, and then there's a rope to bring you back up. So you don't get stuck, but it could lead to some, I think, interesting jumping puzzles.
Now, this isn't like slaughterfish waters, right? It's just regular swimming water.
No, it's just regular.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually beautiful.
Let's just fall. Don't hit the rocks, though. That's gonna be me.
You can't fall. I have fallen on the rocks and died.
That would be kind me.
Yeah, but there is a rope to take you back to the bridge. If I can interact with it, there we go. So that's beautiful down there. Absolutely stunning. Some great views and vistas, but my personal favorite part of this is inside the house. So this is an ore processing facility, and you can see all kinds of Dwemer machinery. This is the furnished house, and my current favorite part is mine cart tracks. Our new
love
furnishing
that.
items coming, so you can make some tracks. And then also there is a second entrance exit for this house. This is the leave home, so you can thematically leave your house via cart, and it will take you across the map, and you come out right around here on the map. So it's a cool house because you can come in 2 ways, leave 2 ways.
You can live your
That's awesome.
your Donkey Kong dreams and fantasies now, right?
Leave my Donkey Kong fantasies. And then we run through, and what's in here is where the furnace, where you would process that ore. And what's also really cool about this house is that in the furnace is a functioning blacksmithing station.
Sweet.
So it comes with a blacksmithing station. Part of it, you can really get that lava glow.
Yeah, don't. Oh man, they're gonna make me try and pronounce the name of this. It's dwarven, so you know. It's cathedral deep mines. We're gonna go with that.
Yep.
We just call it deep mines for short. But
Yes. There are 3 rooms up top here, and then there is also a second story, which is, I've been told, designed thematically to be more of like the office space. So after you get dirty with your mining of the ore, you can come up top, and it has a more open space secondary floor for a nice open area.
it is like keyboard smash deep mines. Anytime you see dwarven, you're like, oh no, how do we
Yep.
pronounce this one?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is a
then-
notable sized home.
Yes, it is a notable size home.
Awesome, and of course the balcony.
And there's a balcony that overlooks your front yard.
I love a good view. Honestly, that's what sells me on a house is the view. I'll fully admit that.
I will admit there was a really good view where I was standing on the combat dummy over there that looks over Belkarth or Blackreach. Wow, wrong zone.
I love
Speaking
Blackreach. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Speaking of a good view, I think the next house actually has a pretty awesome view. And it might be one
The
of my
next
favorite
house-
houses.
I actually think I'm gonna convert my crafting house to be this house. I can't help myself. I want it so badly.
This is
It
the
looks
grand
fantastic.
gallery of Tamriel, right?
Yes, it is.
So this is another
And-
notable home. It's in the Rift. And
It's actually the Rift Cyrodiil border. So on one section of the house, you can actually see into Cyrodiil.
Yeah. Now, one thing that's cool about this, the housing team wanted to mention, is this is kind of roughly based on an existing museum in Baltimore, inspired by a Baltimore
that's really
museum. Yeah.
Which I think is really great. I'm calling out here. I did fly up here, but I know you can build up here. Every rampart you see is a buildable space, so you can build your paths galore and explore all the ramparts of this home, which I think is absolutely great. I didn't have any items to build up to it. There are 2 side courtyards that are very, very similar in appearance, but you can see the building and views from this are absolutely incredible. Like,
Yeah.
you have a side
Nice.
river, even a cute little boat. But the
Should-
best part, I think, is in the middle, inside.
Yes. Yeah, and again, but this is just kind of a preview of the houses. We'll have more information on sourcing and all of that stuff a little bit later.
Yes. So this house is built with the idea of being the premier place to show off all of your collective goodies that you've earned, whether or not they're
Yes.
Undaunted Bust or achievement furnishings or all kinds of things. So you walk in right into this grand lobby with statues. There's all these little plots to put things that you collect. But what I think is really cool is this side. It's shown in the same way. It's mirrored on both sides. but you can see there's additional plots and built into the wall plaques. So it's the perfect place to put those undaunted
All
busts.
those monster heads, yes. I love it.
All those
Yeah.
heads. And you can also have a ton of flat wall space for all of your paintings and things. If you're
I have
like
a lot of
me,
those.
you play way too much Tales of Tribute and have collected paintings galore.
Yep.
And
is
so
really
you come up
exciting.
here. This is really, really great. There's a balcony. So there's a nice long balcony. The front of it, you can see down into your front courtyard like you could in the last house. Just so you guys can see looking down. But there's also another floor.
Another floor. I need to
Another
find.
floor.
I want somebody who has collected all of, all the achievements, all the things to just get this
Right.
house and deck it out,
Lay it
and then
all.
put it on home tours, right? Put it in a listing so we can
Yeah.
all see it.
Just to call out, this is the upper level of this first lobby you saw with the statues, and you can even build all the way up into the dome, which I think is great. Has a
That's
nice
awesome.
round path. And then coming up, there are 2 acropolises, if I said that right. Is that acropoli?
A crap. I don't know, but somebody in chat will find out for us.
Right.
Someone would tell me. Which is great that you can build on each side. And then coming back to the back of the house, is this view. You can start to see that Cyrodiil architecture back. So it's
Oh, I
right
love
there
that.
on the Rift and Cyrodiil border.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean we've had 10 years of ESO, the amount of collectibles and stuff that you get over the years, and I'm so excited to see, because I know people have done museums already, going through like the home tours and seeing the ESO museums that people have. I'm so excited to see what people do with this one. I think this is a
You could get
fantastic home.
lost in this house with the way people
Yeah.
build stuff.
I like this one so much.
Just
Yeah,
so
I'm
you
excited.
know,
I'm excited for these home tours. Please list them because I want to visit them.
I'm having trouble scrolling in chat. It keeps bumping me to the bottom, but I think somebody said, "Oh my gosh, what is happening?" There we go. Okay, well, I can't scroll up. It just keeps scrolling me down. But I think somebody said that the plural version is acropolises.
Acropolises?
Right? Is that what's up? I
We're gonna have
I
to
can't
ask
go
our
back
lore
and see it.
master. I'm gonna have to ask our writers.
I
They do
can't.
words better
I can't
than
go
me.
back. Chat. No, my scroll bar is not letting me go back anymore. Anyway, okay. So let's quickly move on. Go through the last couple of things coming in base game. Where's anything? Where's my button? Here we go. So we have some updates coming to the tutorial and the main quest in the game. We're just kind of actively tweaking on that whole new player experience based on some feedback that we've seen. We'll have all the details in the patch notes on Monday. It's a whole laundry list of things that we're doing. Next, we are adding high dynamic range, or HDR, for PC, so you can look forward to that in update 44. Chat's still talking about Acropolis versus Acropolis, whatever it is. And then lastly, of course, we do have the 2 new companions, which Carrie is going to be talking about. Well, she should talk about it right now. How about now?
As I can.
Why not now?
Okay, so companions. Let me summarize for those of you guys that do not know what is the companion feature. The companions are unlockable followers similar to our assistants, but yet they comment and provide snide remarks or benefits to what you do in game. They're kind of like that player that sits on the back of your shoulder talking in, but they also fight by your side. They're really, really cool. We currently have 6 in the game, ranging from all over in the last several packages. And each of the companions typically has a combat suite similar to our classes. So if you see a companion that does abilities you kind of like, there's a class there. Well, you're going to say, but just so you know, a necromancer companion is coming with the next 2. So now we can say all the classes are represented for these new set of companions. And each of these companions provides an extra bonus. They each bring something to the table for you to play. We call those the non-combat perk, and they can do all kinds of things. One of them, which was very positively received with Necrom, was Sharp as Knights non-combat perk, which is giving you a benefit to catch trophy fish. More advantage to that. And so we heard you of that in love of that it didn't impact your inventory. So the next two companion non-combat perks are going to be in that similar vein, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So the next two companions are going to be Tanloren, who is our first non-binary Altmer, and they are a Dragonite and Soul Magic hybrid. First time we've taken a mix of abilities that you can have in your kit. The damage dealing line is Soul Magic. They have a very unique relationship with magic. We play with it not just in its combat, but also its story. Because of that unique relationship, they actually prefer any advantage you can find in Tamriel that will give you an edge that doesn't involve magic, such as using Ayleid Weld or using those Verses and Visions in Infinite Archive. And they've taken to, I guess, their fate into their own hands and are slightly sticky hands as a thief, which has gotten them joining a by organization called the Garland Ring. You're going to have to find out more for that story. Very, very great story. Definitely have a brash and energetic type of personality. I love them a lot. Someone to have a glass of wine with. Wow, tongue-tied. And their non-combat perk, because of that thieving background, is going to provide players with benefits to lockpicking. And this one's a really big one. I love it. It gives you increased duration time to pick a lock. For those of you guys that might run out of time, especially in those master chests, it will increase that total time. You'll see new UI elements to show that, along with increased chance to force a lock if you're being a little bit impatient, such as I am most commonly. And lastly, you have a reduced chance to lose a lockpick if you fail to pick that chest. So 3 major benefits to the lockpicking minigame that come with Tanloren that really fit into their thematic lore, and I love it quite a bit. And then lastly, we have Zareth Farr. He is a necromancer Khajiit. So finally finishes that class kit. So we now have all of the classes represented here. He is actually a warrior Khajiit from an ancient order of Khajiiti priests, and has harnessed the power of necromancy to redeem fallen souls. So this is approaching necromancy in a very different way that we've ever seen before, and is actually sent from a past time and pulled out of his time, which is very, very interesting relationship with Azura, and trying to help players find their own path to redemption as well as maybe his own. He wears heavy armor, is a two-handed greatsword, and part of him being pulled from time, there's a spirit cat called Jakka that kind of helps guide you and him through your story, and we're trying to incorporate that story because there's nothing worse but not having any of your stuff. So Jakka does help tag heavy stacks from around Tamriel to provide the much needed, much in demand functionality of keen eye heavy stacks. And the paw prints from this ghost cat marking these heavy tags is absolutely adorable.
It's really cute.
I love it so much. I'm really glad we can incorporate some of those elements into it. He is a lot of fun. Doesn't like things that are too off of the lifespan path, things that are out of place, like the duplicated bosses from Infinite Archive. He's got a interesting opposition to vampirism, which you'll learn more about. because of his relationship with necromancy is much different than what we've seen before. Both of these companions are very, very, very special place in my heart. The writers killed it. Content designers and writers, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, they are both really cool. I see chat just going crazy for them. They're super excited. Do want to make a note that both of these companions that Carrie just talked about, they will be available for purchase in the Crown Store, or if you have an active ESO Plus membership, you will have access to them just with the ESO Plus membership, which is pretty cool. I think you'll have to go to the Crown Store and claim them from there, but they will be yours, which is pretty exciting.
Now, Carrie, I do have to ask because Sharp as Night was pretty tough to beat. I loved the story with Sharp as Night. Out of these two new companions, who is your favorite?
I mean, this is like picking your favorite child, which you should never do.
Yeah, but we all do it, right?
We all do it anyway. Of these two, I love Ken Lauren's responses, but Zareth's story pulls at my heartstrings. I think they did some really, really interesting writing to give new perspective and new light to areas in our base game that you've run past millions of times over the 10 years we've been playing, and you're like, what is that ruined for? And you've really added some story elements to it. In particular, that mind-blowing moment was when I was taken into Canarthy's Roost during part of that story, and I thought it was incorporated really, really well in seamlessly of how our world has changed and evolved, and Zareth has a very unique perspective because he's from a different time period.
Awesome.
Interesting. I don't know. That Kenai Heavy Sack is calling my name.
I know.
Kenai Heavy Sack. I mean, the 10 Lauren increased duration to pick a chest is pretty significant. It's about a 30% increase for picking master chests in terms of duration. Yep. And our voice actors are absolutely amazing. They smashed it. 10 Lauren is Vico Ortez. I hope I said that right. And Zareth Var is Darren DePaul.
Excited.
Awesome. Well, Carrie, I want to give you a huge thank you for joining the stream, for being our guide through all of these other things that are coming to Update 44, for talking about these companions. They will be available when Update 44 launches. Again, it'll be with your ESO Plus membership, or you can purchase separately in the Crown Store. But yeah, it was awesome having you on stream again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I'm really excited about these two. I think they're our best set yet. So thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you. All right. We are going to shift over, talk about some in-game events that are coming up and some other announcements. I do see chat asking about drops. I think the plan was we were going to be finished with our stream by this point, but we went a little long. So we are going to see if we can turn drops back on. I actually don't know if we can since the campaign is officially over, but we're seeing what we can do. If we cannot turn them back on, we are going to have some recap streams from various territories around the world. I need to see when the first one starts. It's going to be a little bit later in the week or even next week. So you can always tune into some of those for a second chance at that pet if you didn't get it. Now, let's talk Fallen Leaves of Westfield. This is an event that it was on PTS at one point, but this is going to be starting, September 26th, running through October 8th. It is a new in-game event that we have. Now, what we're asking you to do is complete daily quests throughout Westfield from an event NPC or Lucent Citadel weekly trial quests. Now, this does require gold road in order to participate, but you will receive event coffers filled with rewards and bonus drops and, of course, event tickets. Now, the first coffer that you earn each day is going to be a gold quality. The subsequent ones are purple quality, and they have a chance to contain tradable style pages for an all-new Tree Sap Legion armor style. Say that 5 times fast. Crafting materials, gold road motif style items, overland set items, companion gear, and more. So for this event, we are asking you to kind of work together as a community and unlock some rewards. In order to kind of move this meter, you're going to have to complete the daily event quest, conveniently titled Fallen Leaves of Westfield, just like the event.
Pretty self-explanatory.
You can't miss it, right? So that's going to work towards the rewards. Where is my rewards screenshot? Here it is. So the first milestone unlock is going to be that vineyard voroplasm pet that you see there on the left. And if that's not our spirit animal,
a
I
pet
don't...
after my own heart,
right?
I need something to carry around a bottle of wine for me all day. I'm
No
just saying.
kidding. The second milestone is a luminescing Varla stone memento, which you see in the middle here. And then once the bar reaches 100% full bar, you'll get yourself that russet Brecca mount that you see on the right. You also get the Tree Sap Legion Arms pack, so it matches with the armor style, which is pretty cool. And then there's going to be 6 nested reward boxes containing all sorts of in-game treasures. So there's going to be item sets, attunable crafting stations, transmute crystals, and more. Of course, we are going to have full details in the website article, which I believe is going live next week sometime. I want to say like towards the end of next week. So definitely keep an eye out for all the details on how to participate, all the things you get, all that stuff.
Awesome. And of course, I mean, we still have 3 months left of this year. We talked about the September kind of recap, but we have October through December, which are my favorite months because all the holidays are coming.
Yay,
so
all the best
we
holidays.
have, right? These are my favorites. I love the last half of the year. October, November, and December are each going to have a PvP weekend, deathmatch, domination, and capture the relic. As a reminder, these are going to be featuring the new 2-sided Battlegrounds. So really awesome opportunity to get some bonuses while testing out the new Battlegrounds. In October, we have an Explorer celebration coming up, as well as the Beloved Witches Festival. It's that spooky time of year, not spoopy. Stop that.
Oh my gosh, thank
Spooky.
you. I'm so glad we're on the same page. Oh my gosh.
If
if Dom is
no spoopies allowed. That's banned in my chat.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that we could do a whole stream on spoopy versus spoopy.
I know. And then we have in November, we're going to have an double XP boost weekend, which is, again, great time to level, as well as we're going to be revisiting the Legacy of the Bretons with the Legacy of the Bretons celebration. And then, of course, we're going to end the year, as we always do, with the New Life Festival, which is by far one of my favorites. Love all of the different Tamrielic traditions that you get to learn about in that. So lots of great things come in through the end of the year.
I'm going to punt chat for spamming spoopy now. How dare you? How dare you? Lastly, want to go over some 10-year anniversary celebration meetups that we're having. These are, in real life meetups, not just in game. So in September, we do have the one in Italy happening a little bit later this week, and then next week in San Diego during TwitchCon. Now, I do want to know both of these are at full capacity. So hopefully we'll see some of you in San Diego, but we are full for both of these events. In October, we're going to be sending Rich halfway around the world. He's going to be taking a little trip down under and making a few stops in Australia. So the first being GCAP, the Games Connect Asia Pacific, happening in Melbourne on October 7th. He will be doing a keynote called Built to Last, 10 years as a live service game. Because we've been running this game for 10 years now. The next one, he will be at PAX Australia in Melbourne from October 11th to 13th. They are going to be actually transforming the PAX Australia pub into an ESO tavern, complete with a live bar, some tabletop roleplay experiences, a mural wall with Athelia's wings, and a guest Athelia cosplayer, Vera Chimera, and more. Excuse me. Rich is also going to be doing a panel, Music of the Elder Scrolls Online, with Lara6683. If you haven't caught Lara's live streams, by the way, they are amazing. She's a really great piano player that just, you can basically just tell her like, oh, play this, and she could do it. She is magnificent. So that'll be a really, really cool panel. Lastly, South by Southwest Sydney on October 17th. Rich is going to be doing a panel there as well. All the panels celebrating 10 years of the Elder Scrolls Online. So if you are our friends over in Australia, hopefully you can check one of those out. And lastly, Spain and Poland have their own meetups, October 17th and 19th, respectively. So you can stay tuned to local channels for updates on those. All right, last but not least, as we mentioned earlier in the stream, the Elder Scrolls Castles just released, which is super exciting. We want to give them a huge round of applause. We do have a special message from the team at BGS that we wanted to share with all of you right now.
Hey everyone, I'm Craig Lafferty, Director of Mobile Games at Bethesda Game Studios. On behalf of the team, we are so excited to announce that our latest mobile game, The Elder Scrolls Castles, is available now globally on iOS and Android. In Castles, you're the hand of the king as you manage your kingdom. You'll build the castle of your dreams, rule over your subjects, and make critical decisions about your kingdom's future as you build your dynasty. To celebrate the game's launch, we've collaborated with developers at ZeniMax Online Studios to create a unique pet companion, much like the baby egg you might encounter inside your castle walls. This pet companion is available in the Elder Scrolls Online on September 16th. We can't wait for you to jump into castles and build your own dynasty. And we also have a brand new trailer to show you now.
I will say that Ninetales and I have been playing Castles in the early access, and we had a ton of fun with it. So I hope everybody checks it out. It was pretty fun. It was a nice little fun idle game to pop on,
Yes.
getting ready for bed at night. So.
Definitely.
But if you are interested, you can get the half-hatched Gwarling pet through the Crown store starting next week, September 16th. It's really cute. I can't. This is going to be the first thing I buy as soon as I log on September 16th.
I know.
How can you not have this little guy running around behind you?
I love it. It's definitely one of my new favorite pets for sure. It is
for sure.
Adorable.
Yep.
All right, folks. Want to give a huge thank you to everybody who tuned in today's stream today. Just to recap super quick, everything that you saw here in Update 44 is coming to PTS on Monday, September 16th. PC on October 28th. I don't know what month I was going to say, but it wasn't October. And console on November 13th. That includes the two-sided Battlegrounds that Brian went over with the 7 new maps, the new power-ups. This is all part of the base game. The 10% bonus to AP and Telvar if you have ESO Plus. And also, if you have ESO Plus, you can claim those 2 new companions that Carrie went over, or they're available for purchase in the Crown store. We have the new Grimoire, Banner Bearer. We have the new skill styles that we showed off. All these really awesome things.
We also have coming up on the 26th of September, we're going to kick off the Fallen Leaves of Westfield event. So don't miss out on that either.
I'm sure you will be streaming that event and kind of maybe
Absolutely.
walking people through how to complete that daily quest. Yeah.
100%. We'll have guides for it and everything, but our stream is always open for questions. Or if you just want somebody to run with, we're always around. So
Awesome. Chat, can you please give a huge round of applause for Miss Ninetails, who did an amazing job co-hosting today. I mean, she really kind of picked up where I couldn't start talking. I mean, she did an amazing job. So huge thank you for joining today.
yeah,
This
I
was super
appreciate
fun.
the invite to come help out today.
Yes. We are going to drop a raid. Is Pain in the Axe live still? Somebody let me know if Pain is still alive, because I think he is the perfect person to drop a raid to, since he is always in PvP, always doing Battlegrounds.
Yes.
He's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He is live. Perfect. We are going to do that. All right. So hopefully we will see some of you in San Diego next week. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on PTS on Monday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.